This is a topic that I am extremely passionate about. I mean, I started screaming about it in an earlier video, and that is marketing a property until contracts are signed. I challenge anyone who disagrees with me, and I know there are a lot of people out there because I got in lectures about it, to comment below or call me to discuss. Here's my theorem. When a buyer says, hey, I'll pay that price, and you come to an agreement on the price, my theorem is that nothing has happened. When a buyer even says, I'm mailing in a contract, nothing has happened. When a buyer sends you the contract, his attorney sends a contract to your attorney, and still nothing has happened, even if it's signed, until our attorney reads it and agrees that the terms are the same as when we sent it out. So, as I've said, and I could talk about this for an hour, until the buyer is under obligation to buy, the seller is under no obligation to sell to them or to anybody, or not, and not sell it to anybody else. So what happens? What's happened to us dozens and dozens of times is a buyer will agree to a price and then disappear, or just change their mind. Right? It's nothing. It's an email. It's a text. I've gotten those. I still remember how I feel for them. They make you sick. You think you have a deal, and then you get an email or a text saying, "Sorry, buyer, I changed my mind." If it's from the buyer, or the attorney says the buyer changed his mind, and the deal's not going through. That can happen at any point. I'm not talking about somebody who does an inspection and the inspector says the house is going to fall down. That you understand. You can blame that on the inspector. People have the ability to just change their mind until contracts are signed. So here is my point. You continue to market the property. You show it, open houses, whatever. If you're doing advertising on Facebook or whatever, don't stop that until contracts are signed. Now, and I spoke about this before too, and we see it more than anything ever today in politics. There is something called confirmation bias, and that means your brain wants to believe something and pretty much will take all the facts around it to believe that. We see it in politics today. It's 2019. If you don't like Donald Trump, whatever he does, whatever he says, you're going to hate, right? If he cured cancer tomorrow, you'd say he did it for his own benefit and he's still a bastard. If you do like Donald Trump, whatever he does, whatever he says, you like it, right? If you saw a video of him murdering children and women, you'd say there was probably a good reason for it. That is confirmation bias. Now, your mind wants to believe that this buyer is going to come through, right? Because the price is what you wanted. You want to get rid of the property. If you own it every day you own it, it costs you money. You want to sell it. So when a buyer says, I'll pay you X price for it, and you like that price, you want it to happen. So you don't want to continue to show the property. You don't want to continue to waste time on it. You want to take it off the market. You want to stop. That open house you had scheduled for the next day, you want to put it down. And that buyer is going to tell you to do that. Don't do it. You market the property until contracts are signed by both parties. Now in New York, the process when you're selling a property is that the seller's attorney prepares the contract and sends it to the buyer's attorney. The buyer signs it, gives a deposit, and then sends it back to you for the seller to sign. So I have had situations where the buyer told me, no problem, we just sent in the contract. We were so happy. The contract comes in, and guess what? I think it was a $420,000 purchase price. Oh, there was a $30,000 seller's concession that they wanted. So was the price $420? No, the price was $390. That was not a price that we agreed to, especially since we had offers much higher than that. So until your attorney looks at the contract and sees that nothing's changed on it and says, hey, it's good, let's sign it. At that point, maybe before you've signed it, you can say the deal is done. Oh, another thing, sometimes the EMD doesn't come through. The guy says, oh, I'll wire the money later. Until that the EMD, the earnest money deposit, comes through, it's not a deal. So you have to try very hard, and it's not an easy thing to do, to say that even though the buyer agreed to the price, and this buyer looks amazing, and these people love it, it's all cash, he's going to close in 5 minutes. Whatever they told you, it doesn't matter until contracts are signed. And when somebody says to you, whoa, we agreed on a price, why are you still marketing it? Simply say, right now, here's a great thing that I do, before you even say that. Every time we accept an offer, right? So every time a buyer says, hey, I'll give you $420, we go, great, we'll sell it for you $420. I say, please understand, we are going to continue to market this property until contracts are signed. Now, that does two amazing things for you. Number one, it lights a fire under their ass to get these things signed. If they really want the property, they're going to try and push as fast as they can. And number two, you have less problems later when there's an open house the next day and someone offers you $25,000 more, and you take that offer. Now, are you a dick for taking that offer? I don't think so. Some people would say you are. You gave your word. But guess what? The first buyer can call you up at any time until contracts are signed and say, sorry, I changed my mind. Why? I don't have to tell you why. So it's very important to not get excited when an offer is accepted, because it means nothing. And I have people calling me, oh, you're a prick. You took our offer and then you took more money. Guess what? You didn't give me anything, any reason to believe that you were going to come through. You want to sign the contract, sign the contract. Now, sometimes, if it's the next day or something, and maybe you are being a prick. But guess what? If the buyer's under no obligation to buy, you're under no obligation to sell. Are you a dick? Maybe. Maybe you are a dick. If you agreed to a price and you got a higher price 15 minutes later, you took it. Maybe. But the truth is, that buyer's under no obligation to come through. That buyer can send you a text or an email. That buyer can jerk you around. I've been jerked around for 3 weeks by somebody who didn't end up closing, who said, yeah, we'll get to the contract. Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm transferring money. Every excuse in the book. I'm just transferring some funds. I'm just doing this. These are the kinds of things that happen all the time. So continue to market the property until contracts are signed by both parties. Don't stop no matter what. No matter how much you want to believe this deal is going to happen, until contracts are signed, you have nothing. Zero. I don't care what they say. I don't care how good they seem. I don't care if they showed you proof of funds for $20 billion. I don't care if they say they're wiring the money tomorrow. I've had people tell me they're on their way to sign the contract with their attorney. I just got the check from the bank, and then disappear. I mean, never call me back. Anything can happen. Until contracts are signed, the property is for sale. There are only 2 points. Before contracts are signed, when the property is for sale, and after contracts are signed, when the property is off the market. There is no in between. There's no accepted offers. I get realtors calling me, you have any accepted offers? You know what? I hate saying that. I say not at this time. Even if I have one, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I know realtors don't want to waste their time on a property where the offer was accepted. I've had people scream at me. I don't care. If you're in business, this is how it works. I've been screwed too many times by people who had accepted offers and flipped out to believe anything other than a signed contract. So I'm sorry. Yes, I had someone once come and they saw their inspection, not once, but a half a dozen times. They got there and there was an inspector. That means you had an accepted offer and what? Tough crap. I don't care until contracts are signed, and I put it in my MLS listing. No offer is deemed accepted until contracts are fully executed. That is how it works. If you're working any other way, I promise you, it's only because you haven't been screwed enough times yet, or you just don't do enough deals, or you believe in some kind of code that where you're got the lower hand in this situation. If a buyer has no obligation to buy, you have no obligation to sell. Continue to market until contracts are signed by both parties. Do not believe in what an accepted offer means.